Well, that was a bummer. Bruce Willis's final movie, Assassin. Yes, indeed, this is Bruce Willis's final movie, as of last year, he officially retired from acting due to his dementia diagnosis. And yes, I'm aware this movie came out this year, but this movie was in production since 2021. So, did Bruce Willis go out on a high note? No, obviously not. This is a really bad movie. Now, Bruce Willis recently has been kind of infamous for starring in a lot of bad direct-to-DVD action movies like this. So, this one doesn't... So, if this movie sucked, it wouldn't have really come as a surprise, but... the thing that bums me out about this movie sucking is that it's his last movie. Whether or not he will, unretire from acting is up for debate, but I personally don't think so. So this will indeed be his final movie, most likely. And like I said, it's a bummer because this is terrible. Everything about this movie is bad. So let's just start simple. Let's start with the acting. It's bad all around. Everyone's bad. Dominic Purcell is okay. He's the one kind of saving grace in this movie. He's in it for 5 minutes, but... at least he's trying. The rest of these are B-movie actors that I'm not familiar with and aren't very good. And the diagnosis is really showing on screen in Willis's performance because it looks like he's not trying, but I have a feeling it's the dementia that's getting to him here. Because it looks like he's trying, but he's just not able to pull a good performance out. And again, the rest of these actors are people I've never heard of, and they're not very good. They're bland, and it doesn't help that their characters have no personality to them whatsoever. They're all blank slates, they're all boring, and that's the big problem with this movie, is that it's boring as hell. The basic idea of this movie, of jumping into other people's bodies to do assassination, essentially what they say in the movie, is that the cops or the military or whoever can't get close enough, but we can, because they can jump into the body of somebody who can get close to them, kill them, and then they would take the fall for it. Yeah, that's a decent idea, but it falls apart because this is such a convoluted concept, especially when it comes to the ending, but I'll get to that in due time. But some things I want to bring up is there's some things in this movie there's some moments in this movie that just don't make any damn sense. There's an entire montage of her jumping into other people's bodies and killing them, I guess, but we never see them. It always, cuts away way too quickly, and each of these attempts lasts for, 5 seconds, and it's a montage that only lasts a few minutes. The rest of the movie is just people sitting around and talking about shit we already know. None of it is interesting, might I add. The body jumping... again, it's an interesting idea, but they don't do anything creative with it. It's the most basic level shit you can do. And this is based on a short story named Let Them Die Like Lovers, I think it's called. And I'm assuming the short story isn't any better because the two people who wrote that short story, one of them directed this movie and the other wrote this movie. So I'm guaranteeing the short story is just as bad. Or hell, maybe it was better as a short story. Maybe this would have been better as a 10-minute short film than an hour-and-a-half long movie. And one detail I did see near the end where there was a truck saying Atlas and Wolf on it, which are the last names of the two people who wrote the short story and made this movie. That was kind of funny. I did kind of chuckle at that. But that was the only decent thing in this movie was one tiny Easter egg in the back that I don't know how I noticed, but I did. Because it was just in the background of a shot. The action sequences, which normally in these direct-to-DVD movies aren't that great to begin with, is so bad in this movie. Not only do the sequences not last very long, they have the two biggest sins of action sequences: quick cutting and shaky cam. There's a lot of cuts that jumps to a bunch of different angles, many of the angles of which you can't see anything, but even in the angles where you in concept would be able to see what's going on, you can't because the fucking camera won't hold still for half a second. There was a sequence very early on in the movie, maybe 5 minutes in, where this woman who's been taken over by the villain of the movie, it's Adrian, I think, she, attacks Willis's character, and the sequence only lasts about 10 seconds, but I can't see what the fuck's happening. It's all shaky cam, it's all out of focus, and speaking of which, there was a part in that scene where Willis shot her in the chest with a gun. How did this person survive that? It's made clear that I think it was made clear that you can't, like, die in that body, I think, but the person that whoever was controlling her, whether it was Adrian or one of his goons, I don't know, but whoever was controlling her, like, them surviving that, sure, but the person whose body they took over, she survived despite getting shot directly in the heart. And if that is a thing where doing this makes you completely invincible, one, that was never explained, and two, that kills all stakes, because there's no longer a risk of either person, the person controlling the controlled person or the person being controlled, dying if they're completely invincible. So there's no stakes in this plot anymore. I have no reason to care anymore. And that was 5 minutes into the movie, and the concept is already broken. That is a huge problem. Oh yeah, I was going to talk about the ending. I should talk about the musical score. There's barely a musical score. I like talking about the music score if it's worth talking about. I don't even remember there being a score. At least not much of one. And the ending makes this convoluted story so much worse. It's revealed as spoilers, I guess, this movie's been out for a week, and clearly no one gives a shit about it, and no one's liking it. It's got shit reviews by both critics and audiences, so I feel no reason to say spoilers, but spoilers. The end of the movie reveals that Alexa's husband, Sebastian, who's been in a coma for 3 months because he had the spider taken out of his neck, even though it looks more like a centipede than it does a spider. Whatever. He had that taken out of him, so he was stuck in a coma, and it was due to him. And it was because Adrian took that spider out of his neck. And basically, Alexa's goal is to get the spider from him in order to get her husband out of a coma. Now, that in and of itself sounds simple, right? So prepare for that to be thrown in the garbage in the last 7 minutes of the movie, or whatever it was, where it's revealed that Sebastian was not in a coma. He was controlling Adrian the whole time. And even without seeing the movie, I think you can all tell me what the problem is. I'm at least assuming you haven't seen this movie, because I'm pretty sure I'm one of the, 5 people on the planet that actually have. But even if you haven't seen the movie, you can already tell what the issue is. None of this makes any sense. And I don't remember if Willis and all these other agents knew about this, judging from at least one of them's reaction. At least one of them didn't. And his explanation is utter garbage. His explanation is, oh, we can get away, they can't find us, we can live in whoever's body we want. And why would you want to live in some stranger's body, first of all? And Alexa makes the obvious point, no, it's not actually us. And he's like, but his response is, Alexa and Sebastian, these are just bodies. It's like, this is one of the stupidest fucking arguments I've ever seen in my life. And obviously, with the reveal that he's basically the villain, Alexa ends up shooting him, and it just makes the little sound, even though there was no silencer on that gun, so you figure that one out. It makes the sound with the silencer, but there's no silencer on the gun, so you figure that out. But this ending just made this already terrible movie so much more infuriating, because they wanted... Okay, let me give you an example. Let me give a comparison. If any of you remember that 2021 Netflix film, Sweet Girl, and if you don't, I don't blame you. I did a very rage-filled review on this, full video by clicking the card. And its ending had one of the most incompetently written twists I'd ever seen, purely for the sake of having a plot twist. It made no sense, and it completely broke the movie. This is very similar. It doesn't make any sense, it breaks the movie, and it just made me... oh my god, it was to the point where it made me question my own sanity. It was one of those twists where it made me question everything I had just watched, and not in a good way. There are movie endings and twists that make you question, make you see everything in a different perspective, but all this did was give me this perspective that I had wasted an hour and a half of my life watching this piece of shit. So, yeah, I got nothing else to say with this. I feel so sorry for Bruce Willis, not only because he's diagnosed with dementia, I wouldn't wish that upon my worst enemy, but this had to be the movie he went out on. That hurts. This bona fide badass who's been in classic movies like freaking Die Hard, one of the most acclaimed and one of the most beloved action movies of all time, ends his career with this. That sucks, and I really hate to do this. Assassin gets an F. Thank you all so much for watching. I have a couple more reviews before getting a video out about the January through March movies that I've seen. You'll see what I mean probably tomorrow. Yeah, I'll see y'all then. Bye.